start just with everybody introducing yourself to the people around you, just so you know who you're with? Make a new friend. Say hello, tell them your name, tell them where you're from. Okay, enough of that. We've had enough. Bring it back. Bring it back. Are these those fake candles or are these real? Oh, I love the fake ones. They tricked me. They really got good at them. So if I haven't met you yet, my name's Raghunath. Welcome. This is sort of a whole Bhakti Immersion Day today. Bhakti is a way of connection through devotion. And that truthfully, that's how we understand love anyway. We said earlier, love is an action. It's just not a feeling. You say, well, I don't love my wife anymore. Okay, love her then. Actually love her. Don't just say, I don't love her. So our relationship with higher power, with Source, with God, with Krishna, with whatever you want to call your higher power, it's the same thing. And in the Bhakti practice, there's different ways to do it. One we're going to do in 40 minutes or in an hour or so. We're going to sing. And a lot of people, even if they're very new to it, can feel what it feels like to be a Paramahamsa. Ever heard that word, Paramahamsa? Like there's Paramahamsa Yogananda, he's very famous. This idea of Paramahamsa means a person is so evolved, they're not even in this world anymore. You know where that name comes from? Param means very high, and Hamsa is what? Who knows what a Hamsa is? Huh? Nope. That's a hasta. It's a swan. Yeah, there's a swan with hands. Just kidding. No, it means like a supreme. It's interesting because when the British first came over and they translated this word, they called it the big duck. Like a supreme, but it really means the supreme swan. But it's poetically, it's a poetic, what's the word? Poetic device. And it's an honorific title. Because they say, and this is weird, I don't understand this how it works, but they say a swan has the ability, like if it's in a swamp and you were to pour milk in the pond, it has the ability to drink the milk out of the swampy water. So even though the water could be contaminated, it somehow can extract the milk. So they say the great souls, the Mahatmas, are like Paramahamsas, or like supreme swans who can be in a crazy world. Does everybody wholeheartedly agree this world's a little crazy? Anyone not agree with that statement? Okay, world's a little crazy, and guess what? It's always been a little crazy. Isn't that crazy to think? You think you're the only one experiencing a crazy world? People have been experiencing for millennia. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moga, these have been here forever. Even 150 years ago when everything was organic, it was still a crazy world. People were still toxic. There was still war. There were still crazy people out there trying to kidnap your children. It was always a crazy world. So the great souls, it can be in this crazy, but not be affected by the crazy. You're amidst crazy, but not affected by it. Oftentimes, we can get swept away. If I'm hanging out with a bunch of crazy people, I'm acting a little crazy. Hanging out with some good people, I act a little good. We get swept away, isn't that true? By the people we hang out with. This is like a very, very important thing that my mother, my old Italian Brooklyn mother, drilled into my head from childhood. You become like the people you hang out with. And every good mother says this. Don't hang out with those kids. Every time you do, you get into trouble. The Bible says, don't keep the association of fools, or you become like a fool. Sometimes it's not that you're even doing anything foolish, but when you hang out with fools, you suffer from getting hit with the shrapnel of a fool's bad choice. Does that make sense? I have friends that went to prison, not for doing anything stupid, just hanging out with the fool who did something stupid. And it's hard, because everybody wants to be loved, and these crazy kids think they treated me like I'm okay, so I'm hanging out with them. So part of the reason why these two wonderful people have set up this, and their community have set up this whole place, is because they want to build a community of people who want to become transcendentalists, that want to get very focused, that want to become Paramahamsas. See, Paramahamsa isn't just for the great souls. Just like sometimes when I grew up in Christianity, they taught me like Jesus is pure, you're a mess, you're horrible, but you're a sinner. Okay? So if she starts choking, whack her in the back. Just whack her. Okay? You need a glass of water? Okay. I had a horrible experience choking once. I'm sorry. I was home alone, and can I tell you my choking story? It's got nothing to do with anything spiritual, but it's a funny story. Ever see those zinc tablets that you put in water and they fizz, and then you drink it? For some reason, I said, I'm going to just take this zinc tablet like this, and I swallowed it, and it got caught in my throat, and no one was home, so I was like, hey. And I was like, I should maybe just drink water, and it'll start fizzing. So I was like, no. And then I got really worried because no one's home. And I think if I die, they'll never even figure out how I died. It'll disintegrate by the time they come home. So I started YouTube searching Heimlich maneuver to oneself. And I didn't have YouTube Prime. So what a bad time for a commercial. I was like, come on. So I'm throwing myself against the chair. And finally it went down. Thank you for reminding me of that. What was I talking about? Paramahamsas. Oh yeah, there's this idea like, Jesus is pure, you're horrible, but Jesus is pure. Or even like the guru is pure, but you are so low. The beauty, the way Sanatana Dharma, Vaishnavism, the worship of Vishnu, teaches about spiritual life is, you like these evolved people? I got some good news for you. You can become like that. Not that they're so elevated you're always going to be a mess. You're always a train wreck. No. You don't have to be that anymore. And there's a trail of breadcrumbs left for you. Like there's a path to do it. It's just like sort of Lewis and Clark already went that way. They already made the trail. They know how to get to the West Coast now. They've already figured it out. You don't even have to figure it out. And that's why historically in every tradition there's teachers. And what's a teacher? A teacher is one who's a few steps ahead of you. They know, watch out, there's going to be a hole there. Watch out, there's mud right there. Watch out, there's, a sinkhole. And then you take a left at the big tree. They've already done this. They've fallen in the same traps you've already fallen in, and they can guide you. And then that's why we have community, so we can get advice and we get inspiration from other people who are walking a similar path. Other people who realize there's got to be more to life than eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Because the birds are doing that, the dogs are doing it, every animal's doing it. I have at our farm, we have chickens, and we have guinea fowl, and we have peacocks, and you know what they're doing? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. There's always like a bird war going on. I don't have to watch CNN or Fox to get politics. I just look out the window. There's always one big chicken, thinks he's so cool, walking around. The other chickens are like, watch out for him. Right? And a couple girl chickens like, you're the best. And then there's like the peacock who like knocks that rooster down. But then the guinea fowl, these South African tick-eating birds, they chase the peacocks. And it's just like a constant, and then they're eating, they throw out the food and they're all coming around you and you're feeding them. Then at night they perch, and sometimes they wake up and cock-a-doodle-doo and make that noise, right? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. And you know what? If that's all we're doing, our guru Prabhupada, he said, maybe you're not animals, you're polished animals. You ever heard that expression, like a polished animal? That means instead of perching on a limb, you buy a really nice mat. It's an organic mattress. I've got these really organic linen sheets. Big deal. It's still sleeping. And don't even get me into mating rituals of the human species. We're so screwed up. We have to go to a therapist over our mating rituals. Eating. We go to the finest restaurants. It's just eating. And defense, we have a whole defense contracts that we build in Halliburton, and it's still defense. Eating, sleeping, mating. So they say in a human species, you have the opportunity to do one of two things. And you can analyze your life like this. Every choice we make, there's a fork in the road. Will this choice make me upgrade my life or degrade my life? Isn't that true? Every meal I eat, am I going to upgrade or am I going to degrade? Every conversation, because conversations can lift you higher, isn't it? Or they can degrade you. We can have a conversation about murder, right? You can have enlightening conversations or horrific conversations. You can have friendships or marriages that enlighten or degrade. You can have holidays or vacations that can enlighten you or make you forget about your spiritual nature. So we don't have to stop doing anything. All we have to do is infuse it with a spiritual practice and have it upgrade our lives. To the degree that I have degraded consciousness, I take down all the people I engage with. I take them down too. And to the degree that I'm higher and have high consciousness, I lift them up. Isn't that interesting? If I really want to change a person, you know what you should do? Nag them. They'll change then. You just got to nag them loud enough. No. You can't nag someone to change. All they will do is resent you. You change a person by changing yourself, and they get inspired by your change. We were mentioning outside when we were doing that yoga that in Bhakti, or in Vedic teachings, there's so many like nuanced things that you have to do with cleanliness or with ritual or with intonation when you're chanting mantras. It's like scientific in most of what we know as Hinduism, except in Bhakti. In Bhakti, it's all done through the heart. Can I share a good story in that regard?
Yes, please.
All right, this is a good story. This is from the Ramayana. The Ramayana is the Adi Kavi, the original poem. And it's all about Lord Ram. And you can go anywhere in Southeast Asia and hear about Lord Ram. You know that? You can go to Bali, you can go to Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand. Want to hear something interesting about Thailand?
Yes.
Thank you. So I wasn't going to say it if no one said yes. When I was little, anyone know the name of Thailand before it was Thailand? Siam. Siam, like the Siamese twins or Siamese cat. Siam comes from Sham. And Myanmar used to be called Burma, right? Burma is from Brahma. Bali is named after Bali. Singapore means the city of lions. These are all Sanskrit names. And the biggest Vishnu temple in the world? Cambodia. Angkor Wat. Biggest Vishnu temple in the world. So Vedic culture was very expansive. So I was in Thailand once, and I was doing Muay Thai fighting. Has anybody ever seen a Muay Thai fight? It's the most brutal thing you've ever seen. But before they do this brutal fight, they do something very peculiar, the fighters. They do this almost like weird dance before the fight. If you've ever seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you've never seen it, you think I'm crazy right now, but it's a real thing. They do this weird dance before it, both fighters. And then they beat the hell out of each other. And so I asked my coach, I said, what are they doing? He said, oh, it's old traditional thing. I said, well, what is it called? He said, it's called Ram Moy. And so I have to look. So I did all this research about what this was. And they said they're acting out parts of the Ramayana. And the first was they're offering respect to their teacher, then to all the people that have come, then to all the devas or devis, all the gods and goddesses, and then ultimately to Lord Ram. So they're acting out, they call it the Ramayana ballet. It's a dance to Lord Ram. I forget why I was talking about this. Oh, we're going to tell a story from the Ramayana. So the Ramayana is the life of Ram. Now when Ram, this story is about this young girl whose parents arranged for her a marriage. Now this girl was not part of the Vedic culture. And in India, they still have these people that live, they're not raised with Vedic rituals. They don't worship any of the Vedic gods. They call them aboriginal or tribals, and now they're integrated within society, but at one point they sort of like lived in isolated places. And this one girl, her name was Shabari. And Shabari, when they wanted to marry her, her father said, I'm going to marry you, and you can just slaughter all these goats as a ritual. And she said, no, don't slaughter these goats. I don't want to get married. And sometimes you meet people like this, both in India, maybe in America too. You meet children from a very young age who have some deep spiritual calling. Ever met a kid like that? They're not normal. It's not a normal thing. Most kids, like historically in India, there's been like child saints. Shankara, famous personality. You could still buy his books and read his commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita. You can go to Columbia University, find his books. He was a master of the Bhagavad Gita at age 4. He took sannyas. You know what sannyas is? That means when you give up everything and go to the forest. And he initiated 10,000 students at age 8. You know what I was doing at age 4? I was like pulling the head off my G.I. Joes. That's what I was doing at 4. I wasn't mastering the Bhagavad Gita. I was breaking things. So this is, they're special souls who get a calling at a young age. So this young girl, she got this calling, I want to find God. And she left her father. She left her family. And she went in search, and she met this very, very powerful guru who was living in an ashram in the jungle with so many older disciples. And she said, I want to understand God. Can I serve here in the ashram? And the guru was sort of old, and he said, yeah. Here's some things you can do. We have this deity of Ram. And every day you can offer some food to Ram. And you can sweep. Here's a little broom you can sweep up. So she was doing very menial service. And she was enjoying it very much. She felt like, this is my new family. I hear my teacher speak. He's giving me divya gyan, or transcendental knowledge. And she loved the way she did. And every day she would pick these berries. Now, it's very interesting. The way that people cook in India for the deity, like I said, the cooking is a meditation. And before you cook, you bathe, you put on clean clothes, right? You can't just like, okay, I just did yoga and did some CrossFit, now I'm going to cook. You bathe, you put on new clothes, and then it becomes an offering. You start to think of this, I'm cooking this as an offering to God. And then as they're cooking it as an offering to God, they don't do what my mom did when they were making food. My mom's like stirring, tasting, stirring. They don't do that. You don't taste anything. You know the recipe so well you don't have to taste. Because you feel like, I don't want to eat this. This is Krishna's food. I don't want to eat this. But she didn't grow up in a Vedic household. So every time she made an offering, her guru never watched her. All she did was pick these berries that were growing by the altar, and she took a bite of the berries. And she said, this one's good. I'm going to offer this one. So it has a little bite mark in it. And then she took another one, and, oh, this is bitter, not ready yet. Oh, this one's very good. Put that one down. So she's offering all these. You would never do that. In India, you don't even put your hand near your mouth, or you've got to wash your hands. You can't lick your fingers. Once you touch your mouth, this mouth is considered dirty. Right? So sure enough, she's making this offering. Every day, that was her service. Tasting the berries, putting the berries on, offering the berries. And no one ever noticed. No one ever found out. And then after a few years, her guru called her, said, Shabari, his body was very old and invalid at this point. And the rest of the people living in the ashram, some were a little younger, but many were very old. They said, Shabari, my body is very old. My thinking is not very good. I can barely move my hands anymore. I think it is time for many of us to leave our bodies. And she said, well, what do you mean? She said, there's a process to create heat in the body that our bodies will just burst into flames. Meditating on Lord Vishnu. So there's a yogic practice that you can learn. I won't teach any of you today. That you can ignite your body on fire just with your mind. And it's a way to be in complete meditation, complete focus, and then leave your body just like that. And so she said, well, I want to do that too. I don't want to live with it. If you're not living here, I don't want to live here. He said, Sabari, you are too young. You continue with all your service. And if you're patient, Lord Ram will come immediately and deliver you one day. What do you mean? He will come personally and deliver you. And that's all he said. And she started crying, and all the elders sat in meditation, and one by one, their bodies burst into flames, meditating on Lord Ram. She was so sad, so distraught. And she went on with her duties. She remembered the order of her teacher, just be patient, continue with your service, and Ram will come personally. She still didn't know what that meant. So every day she was doing the same thing. And one day, as she was sweeping up, she heard some noise in the forest. Is it a bird or a chipmunk or a lion? And out of the forest comes Ram and Ram's brother named Lakshman. And they're looking for Sita. If you know the story, Sita was kidnapped. And so they're looking for Sita. And when she saw the beautiful face of Ram, can you imagine seeing Ram face to face? We have to understand. There's sometimes we see a person. Have you ever seen a person so beautiful that you're like, they just sort of captivated? I'm a heterosexual man. But sometimes I'll see a guy that's such a hunk. I'll be like, whoa. Guy's a hunk. I'll even sound like he's a hunk. Because there's some people that are just so beautiful that you just are almost stunned by their beauty. That is like a spark of seeing Ram. Just to see Ram, you'd be stunned by the beauty of the eyes and the cheeks and the lips and the smile and his stature. That when you see Ram, you can just do nothing but fall in love. Even the sages of Dandakaranya, of the forest, when they saw Ram with Sita, they thought, I love Sita. I love Ram. How can I be like Sita? These are great sages who are free from all material desires. They're sitting in meditation. They open their eyes. They see Ram and Sita. They're like, I want to be like Sita. And because of that desire, they took birth in Krishna's pastimes and took birth as gopis. Just so they could have that love for the Lord. So sure enough, when Ram came, she was enthralled. And she said, Ram, I cannot believe you are here. My guru said, if I just carry on my duties, you would come personally and deliver me. Is this what he meant? I can't believe it. I didn't know what he meant all these years, and here you are personally. And you know what I do, Ram? Every day, she grabbed Ram by the hands. Please sit. Every day I offer berries to you. Let me please offer these berries personally. So he sat down. She sat down, Ram and Lakshman. And they're like, what's going on here? And she picked a berry from the bush, and she goes, oh, Ram, this one is so sweet. And she put it right in Ram's mouth. Ram was a little shocked, and Lakshman was very shocked. And she took another one. She goes, oh, Ram, that one is no good. Oh, but Ram, this one is so good. She popped that one in Ram's mouth. Ram just swallowed it. And by the time she had that third berry and said it was very sweet and put it in Ram's mouth, Lakshman got up. And he said, oh, mother, how dare you? Do you know who this is? You think this is just the king of Ayodhya? This is Ramachandra. He's the Devati Deva. He's the lord of all the demigods. All the demigods like Shiva, Brahma, Chandra, they all bow at his feet. And you are taking this unclean food and putting it in the Lord's mouth. And Ram grabbed Lakshman's shoulder and said, sit down, Lakshman. These berries are so sweet. These type of stories appear again and again in the Puranas. Puranas, the ancient. Purana means like very old. The ancient histories of India and of the universe. They appear again and again to make that same point we were making outside. If I'm playing the harmonium very, very good, Krishna doesn't hear that. He's not hearing if the note was sharp or flat. If someone's playing the mridanga very, very good, Krishna doesn't hear the tal or the rag. What he hears is the heart. Krishna's not tasting the chutney. Krishna's tasting the love that goes into the chutney. He's not saying, oh, this pakora is undercooked. He's tasting the love invested into that pakora. The Lord only accepts love. It doesn't have to be perfect. That doesn't mean we shouldn't get better cook, better musician. That's okay. It's nice when people are very good and have love. That's even better. But Krishna just tastes the love. Now you can learn harmonium to get very good at it just to please Krishna. That's a better. But if I'm learning it just so I think that I want her and her and her and him to think I'm cool, that's different. That's a different intention. Does that make sense? So in that same way, if you've ever had children, little children, sometimes the child may not do things perfectly. My kids, when they were little, they'd draw pictures of you. When your child was little, they draw some pictures. Dad, I drew a picture of you. It's got this giant bulbous head, little stick body and stick fingers, skinny legs, and big X's for my eyes, and dad is spelled wrong with a D backwards. And the hand, I drew this for you, Dad. What do you think I say when I get that picture? I say, back to the drawing board. This looks nothing like me. No, I don't say that. It's beautiful. That looks just like me. Oh, how did you do this? I'm going to put this on the refrigerator so everyone can see how good you are. The Father's not an art critic. The Father's just tasting love. The Father's just taking the love. He's just seeing the love. The Father understands. I once had a Sanskrit guy come into my yoga teacher training I was leading. And he goes, everybody let me hear you say down dog. And everyone, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Wrong! It's Adho Mukha Svanasana. Something like that. Then he looked at me and said, Raghunath, what's that mantra you always chant? I was like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Wrong! It's Hare Krishna. You've been saying it wrong all these years. And I told him this story. If a child is pointing to the jug of water and goes, wah, 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 what do you think the Father thinks? Child wants water. He's not going to say it right, or you get no water, ever. No. Father sees, the father or the mother understands the intention of the child. It's not even a sound vibration, although it's a sound vibration. It's the heart of the bhakta that Krishna understands. And everything we do in sadhana bhakti is a practice, because practice makes perfect. That's how we get great at things. We practice it. That's why we chant japa. We practice remembering. You know why? Because I remember a lot of crazy stuff. Can anybody remember their phone number from when they were 5 years old? I can. I can remember my phone number when I was 3 years old. It was a different number. I've got so many songs I could sing to you from toys that were advertised on TV. I could, during Christmas, I could just sing hundreds of commercials. They're stored up here. While little Indian kids are learning mantras, chanting mantras and learning shlokas and memorizing Bhagavad Gita, I was like singing like the game of life, the game of you will learn about life when you play the game. I was learning Mattel, Milton Bradley songs on TV because the television was like my Gurukul teacher. Taught me everything. I was raised on cartoons. And that's what was my education. Because our mind is filled with clutter and noise. And guess what? You don't have to worry about decluttering it, because sometimes I feel like it's so messy. I got good news for you. If I have a cup of poison here, don't worry about dumping it. Just put it under a waterfall of fresh, clean spring water. And eventually, all the poison will come out. And it'll just be nothing but life-giving water. Whatever we've got in the mind, just ingest the good, the positive, the uplifting, the spiritual, the eternal. And slowly, all that has been haunting us. And I say haunting because sometimes we watch a movie. Ever do this one? I didn't even choose to watch this. I went to a movie because I thought it would be a good date night. Wrong. Sometimes they show movie trailers like you didn't even want to see this movie. You watched another movie. I was there for the rom-com movie, and they showed me this trailer. I'm not going to say it because it might trigger something in you. It was such a scary trailer. I still think at night about this trailer. How that little 5-minute trailer is still engraved in my mind. So disturbing. Because the mind is like a garage. I'm just stored, and when the garage gets cluttered, it just gets stored with a bunch of nonsense. And I tell you, if you really want to have an organized mind, like you're doing homework or you're doing some creative writing, clean your room. When your room is clean, you can think clearly. So our minds have become cluttered with so much nonsense and noise, what to speak of the crazy stuff. I have certain parameters of what I put in my mind. Why? Because our minds are precious. I remember when I first moved into an ashram, it was 1988. And I really loved hip-hop music back then. But hip-hop was very positive in 1988. It's like Run DMC. It was sort of spiritual meets sort of like fun meets sort of uplifting. So I lived in the ashram for about 7 years. And while I was in the ashram, guess what? The gangster rap came out. And so then I was sort of trying to integrate back into the material world. And I tell you this, if you have anything on your Spotify that calls women bitches and hoes, I highly recommend you delete it. Because language creates a mind. And immediately I was like, I don't want to ingest this in my body and in my mind, because my mind is precious. I don't want to be singing words about killing, hurting, defiling. I'm not into that. I'm creating my future by what I'm putting in my ears. I got to be careful what I put in here. Sometimes I see movies that are coming out. I was like, this crazy movie is only giving crazy people crazy ideas. I never thought about locking a person in the basement, having a secret room to keep people in. I never thought of that, would never think about that. But if you're a little crazy, like, it's a good idea. Could store people there. It's a pretty good idea. Keep them. Careful what we put in. It starts to create us. So in Bhakti, we say, you know what? Out with the bad. Actually, not even out with the bad, just in with the good. And be careful who I let in my life. And that goes with people too. Don't date someone because you're lonely. If you're thinking about dating, and if you're lonely, bad time to date. That's like food shopping when you're hungry. You're just like throwing anything in the cart. And the problem with inviting people into your life, sometimes you can't get rid of them. Even when you know they're not good for you. Anyone have that experience? It's funny, but it's also sad. You invite someone in, and next thing you know, you're entangled with this person. Happens all the time. You got to put up a high fence. And the more you love yourself, you'll make the fence even higher. No one gets me unless they deserve me. You start having so much self-respect that you don't let anybody in. When I have low self-esteem, I let anybody in. You laughed at my joke? I love you. We suffer like an epidemic of low self-esteem. And when we start actually taking care of ourselves, right? If you want to have self-worth, then we have to start doing worthy things in this world. Isn't that true? If I'm cheating, if I'm lying, if I'm scamming, if I'm not taking care, if I have no parameters over my finances, my sexuality, I'll have low self-worth. Bad choices give us low self-worth. You want high self-worth? Do worthy things. Serve people, take care of people, love people. Selflessly give yourself to people in a positive way. Hi. And keep a high fence and be careful who you let in that fence. Any questions? Shabari, Ram, bursting into flames. What else did we cover? Dating people when you're lonely. You know, I say that because the jiva, the soul, naturally wants to connect with God. It's inherent, wants to be one. Weird sound. Did I hear that, or did everybody hear that? It's okay? Not okay? Okay. The jiva naturally wants to be one. I feel like a zero. And instead of connecting with source, I connect with another person who's lost. Because I think 0 + 0 = 1. It doesn't. And if we have a relationship devoid of spirit, one of you will always be more needy than the other. Because you want them to be your God. And you have more love than one person could take. You ever love a person too hard and you freak them out? Like, I can't take on your love. Because it's not meant for them. It's meant to be reposed in God. It's meant to be reposed in your source, in your higher power. You're freaking them out with all your love. Love God, and then you actually have something to offer somebody. Or else the person becomes my God. And that never works. It's also freaky. It freaks them out, or it freak you out, because they can't live up to your godness. They can't live up to that. That's a tall order to put on someone else. Your children become your God. And then when they're 13, they say, screw you, I'm out of here. Then you lose your mind. God just left me. Let God be your God. And then see everybody else as a child of God. That's how to keep peace in your family. Any questions? What is next on our agenda?
Kirtan from 6.
Kirtan from 6. Okay, so we have 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We got 20 minutes of just chilling out. I just want to make an announcement that I have a website. And on my website, I have a mailing list, and I do trips to India where I take people on pilgrimage. I do yoga trainings. I do kirtan trainings. I have a whole team of people. We do this together every January in India. If you want to get out of Seattle in January, is that a good time to get out of Seattle? All right, great time. Prabhu, Ethan went last year to our Wisdom of the Sages training. That happens in January. But it's a great time to break away and sort of like, what to speak of yoga teacher training, because sometimes when you do a training in the States, you go for a weekend here and a weekend there, but it's something really powerful about just to immerse yourself in yogi culture. It's very powerful, and you can't get away. You're just sort of locked in there, so to speak, and you know the whole thing, because sometimes you can, when you're in it, it starts to cook up and it brings stuff up, and it really makes you have some breakthroughs, and people have really transformational experiences. This autumn, I'm doing an incredible pilgrimage. That's different. It's not like a training, although it's very educational. We go to holy places, starting in Delhi, go all the way up to where all the Vedic teachings were written down, which was high in the Himalayas in a cave, which is a temple. It's called Badrinath. It's where Vyasadeva compiled all the Vedas. And so we're going to go all up sacred rivers, all the way up. It's going to be 80% in the Himalayas, and we're going to come down. We're going to go to Rishikesh, Haridwar, all these famous places for yogis, and we do kirtan wherever we go. And I tell stories like we'll do tonight. Tell stories, tell all the pastimes, bathe in the Ganges. It's an incredible thing. We end up in Vrindavan, the land of devotion. So that is happening in October. So all that stuff's on my website. Go to raghunath.yoga, and just get on my mailing list. And I also just did, if you're interested in philosophy like this, I just did a course called, it's on this book, Nectar of Instruction, which is a really cool book on Bhakti. It's like mapping out your Bhakti path. But it's done in short, little, very relevant lessons. This is like an Indian yes, no, and maybe. It works every time. So it's good. Good. You have a question? Suyen.
How do you balance your life out so well with your family and all your...
Isn't that a good question? Because I'm such a balanced person. I'll give you a hint. How does a person learn to walk a tightrope? Yeah, they practice, they fall, they practice, they fall, they practice, they fall. They go 3 feet, they fall. And by the end of it, they're actually can go a little longer and longer and longer and longer. But there's definitely falling involved. And there's definitely practice involved. And so I'm honest enough to say there's been lots of falls, screw-ups. And then when the desire gets strong, and part of the fall is just like, see, let me just share with you my shortcomings. May I? I'm really good at fasting. I can fast for 21 days and not even think about it. And I'm really good at feasting. Right? If Mataji said, yeah, we got another feast, yeah, I got another feast, got another feast. I'm really good at feasting. I can just feast for 21 days. You know what I'm really difficult at? Eating a little. I find that very difficult. And I have a personality that can go back. Does anybody relate to this? Okay, good. I thought I was the only dented can here. We're all a little dented. So what I find is when I was very good at being a monk. It was extreme. It was just, the answer is no. That's the answer when you're a monk. What about her? No. What about that? No. It's just like, no. It's just like when I'm fasting. Hey, you want a salad? You're fasting? No, don't do salad. What about orange juice? Nope. What about, everything is just no. And then feasting, everything's yes. You want some more dessert? Yes. So part of that is getting frustrated with yourself, right? Living like a monk, and then out of the ashram and like, I can't live like this. I'm just going to be materialist. I don't want to be a materialist. This is why I became a monk in the first place. So it's just trying to find that balance, and that is a practice. And you do it by just adding Krishna or spirit to your life on a regular basis, in small doses. In like spoon feeding, like you spoon feed a little child. You're not just going to say, drink the whole jar. You're going to give you a little spoon of it. Spoon feed, wherever you're at in your life, add a little bit more spirit, but do it on a regular basis. Because you only get good at things if you do it on a regular basis. Isn't that true? If I want to get good at piano, regular basis. Don't say, I'm going to practice piano for 4 hours, and then I'm never going to practice again. Do a little bit on a regular basis. You want to learn how to chant japa? Do a little bit on a regular basis. I met so many people. I'm going to chant 16 rounds a day. That's good for about 4 days. You got to do a little bit on a regular basis. And if you're doing that's easy, then you increase a little. And then slowly and slowly, you get lured out of your material life. And then it appears like balance. But it's really been a long, long haul of practice. And everybody is coming from a different place. So your metric for what's normal is going to be different than Kayla's metric for what's normal. Why? Because you're different places in your life. You could be the same age, you could have the same parents, but everybody's different. Like when there's a little baby, we think, well, there's a blank slate. It's a brand new baby. Nah. That baby is packed full of karma from some previous life. Even if you met the same spiritual teacher and you're both excited for a spiritual path, doesn't make a difference. Who were you in your last life? If you and me join an ashram on the same day and we have the same parents, we're both inspired by the same guru, I could have been like Al Capone in my last life, and you could have been, Mother Teresa. So even if we got into bhakti or spiritual life the same day, I've offed like 1 million people and robbed and cheated my whole life. You are already a saint. You know what I mean? So your spiritual life is going to accelerate. And I can't get upset at that being me. I just have to accept I am where I am. I'm not going to beat myself up for it. I'm not going to hate myself for it. I'm not going to shame myself for it. I'm just going to do what I need to do to move forward. That make sense? Thank you. Any other questions? Oh. Does that mean get lost? The clapping? Okay, let us eat that watermelon. Is that what that means? No. Okay. If anybody has any questions, you come up. I also have a book I just came out called From Punk to Monk. Oh, can I see? Here it is, right here. This is me before I met people practicing bhakti, and this is me after practicing. So this is sort of my life story. It's a good book because I find I like books on people's spiritual journey. Because when you read somebody on their spirit, whether it's Radhanath Swami or Autobiography of a Yogi, I learned something about myself, seeing other people's spiritual journey, and that's what it's supposed to spark in you. And I tell my story about how I sort of got into it, what it was like going to India in the 80s, because India was it was a lot different in the 80s. There was no highways. It was just a road, a one-lane road. And anyway, they're usually $35, but they're $20 here. So if you want one, talk to our...
This is not a good book. It is just amazing book. I'm just...
Aww. I was like, where's he going? Where's he going with this?
and he's not paying me for it.
This has been a paid-for announcement.
I think we should take some break.
Let's take a little break. And then we'll come back at 6 o'clock. Haribol.